In today's halacha, we're going to enter into a checklist of reminders and applicable laws that relate to Erev Yom Kippur, which this year falls on Erev Shabbos. Those who have not yet performed the Kapparis do so on Erev Yom Kippur. In the davening, we omit Tachanun. We don't say Tachanun neither in Shachris or in Mincha. We don't say Avinu Malkeinu throughout any of the prayers of the day. This applies even though Yom Kippur falls on Shabbos, and we will not be saying Avinu Malkeinu likewise on Shabbos. Nonetheless, we rule based on Luch Chabad and Eskashus and other places that even when it falls on Shabbos, we do not say Avinu Malkeinu on Friday. We also omit Mizmor L'Seida in Shachris, and the reason for this is because the Korban Todah was unable to be brought on Erev Yom Kippur due to the fact that we were forbidden from eating the bread the next day, and it's called Memait B'Lichlein. And doing so diminishes the amount of eating time of the Todah and therefore wasn't brought. Interesting to note, however, that there are poskim that hold that the Korban Todah was brought on Erev Yom Kippur, and according to their opinions, Mizmor L'Seida should be recited. In actuality, as the Alter Rebbe writes in the Siddur and in numerous places in Shulchanaruchharav, we do not say Mizmor L'Seida on Erev Yom Kippur. Tachanun is recited by Mincha of the 8th of Tishrei, which is the Mincha prior to Erev Yom Kippur, as the night of Yom Kippur is not considered a holiday that begins from before the night of Yom Kippur, meaning that it's not like a Yom Tiv and Shabbos where the Yom Tiv already begins starting midday. Regarding Tachanun and Kirshan Shalamita on the night of Erev Yom Kippur, so there are sides to say that one should say Tachanun, and there are sides to say that one shouldn't say Tachanun. As explained in the Alter Rebbe Shulchanaruch in chapter 604, Halacha 3, regarding the diminishing of Slichus or increasing of Slichus on the night of Yom Kippur. Eating on Erev Yom Kippur is a mitzvah. According to many poskim, it's a mitzvah min ha-Torah. According to the Alter Rebbe, in a later chapter, he writes that it's considered a mitzvah midirabanan. That's what he writes in chapter 608 parentheses. But nonetheless, it is a mitzvah, according to all opinions, to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. And a person who eats on Erev Yom Kippur, the Alter Rebbe writes that he is rewarded as if he fasted for that day, and as if he fasted for 2 days. Therefore, brought the Magen Avram, that one is to even diminish in learning Torah on Erev Yom Kippur in order to be able to eat. It's not required min adin to eat more than one meal. Nonetheless, the minhag is to wash for at least 2 meals, which is the breakfast meal and also for the Sudas HaMafsekes we wash on bread. The Alter Rebbe writes in the Siddur that one should eat enough food to suffice for 2 days worth of meals. The Eishel Avram Butchat says this is not to be taken literally. This would be an enormous amount of consumption, but rather it's saying that one should eat more than he normally would eat in one day and thus already enter into the amount of food he would eat on the second day. This mitzvah applies also to women, even though it is discussed in poskim. Also, women are to fulfill this mitzvah of extra eating on this day. As a result of this mitzvah, there were many Gedolei Yisrael that would nash on something, that would eat a snack throughout the entire day of Erev Yom Kippur, as they were fulfilling a mitzvah at every single time they ate and swallowed something. Drinking is also included in this mitzvah, to drink throughout the day. So machlekes and poskim in regards to whether this mitzvah of eating in Erev Yom Kippur applies from the night before. The Erev Yom Kippur menu. So it's brought down in the Shulchan Aruch that one should only eat easily digestible foods. On Erev Yom Kippur, one should not eat hot meat. Men avoid eating garlic and eggs. All men and women avoid eating sesame seeds, which include tchina and chalva. Dairy is only eaten in the morning meal. Fish is eaten by breakfast, but is a machlekes if it should be eaten in the afternoon. It is customary to make kreplach, dough pastry filling, and during all the meals of Erev Yom Kippur, we dip the bread in honey. Some poskim say that hard-boiled eggs are permitted. Likewise, it is permitted, according to all, to have coffee or tea with a little bit of milk inside. There are some poskim that mention that when a person has a meal on Erev Yom Kippur, being that it is a Yom Tiv, he should have and perform lechem mishnah. So it was brought down in the Shlach Chodesh. Special significance is given to eating fish, as is written in the Torah, based on the Medrash, that there was once a certain tailor who outbid the city police chief over the purchase of a fish, and it almost cost him his life. And when he explained to him the importance of celebrating the day that Hashem is going to give us atonement, so the police chief was satisfied with the answer and let him go. And thus it is a special mitzvah to eat fish on Erev Yom Kippur. It is customary to receive lekach from a gabbai in Erev Yom Kippur, and we specifically ask for it. And the source of this minhag is that in case anyone has to receive something throughout the year, so this should be the item that he has to receive, and not chas v'shalom that he should be a pauper, God forbid. Although it's written in Shulchanaruchharav that some have the custom to visit gravesites on Erev Yom Kippur, this is not our custom. It's brought in the Likutei Diburim that on Erev Yom Kippur in Lubavitch there was a big difference between the two halves of the day. The first half of the day was more of a happy mood, while the second half of the day was more solemn and serious. After Chatzos, before going to mikvah, the men receive malchus, 39 lashes, while both the person giving the lashes and the person receiving the lashes recite the pasuk of Ahuzachum 3 times for a total of 39 times. The order of the lashes is beginning with the right shoulder, then the left shoulder, and then the middle. And one goes and does it, so on and so forth, until he finishes the Ahuzachum 3 times. Preferably it's brought down that one should use a belt that's made of the leather of a calf, but it's not necessary to be medactic in this if it's not possible. When the person receives lashes, he is to face towards the north, as it says that the north is the area of money, and that is the source of sin. And therefore a person should face north while receiving the lashes. A child should not give his father the lashes, and a student should not be giving his teacher lashes. However, in a time of need when no one else is available, one may be lenient. It's customary to immerse in a mikvah in Erev Yom Kippur to purify oneself from the state of keri as well as for tshuva purposes, and for this reason one should immerse 3 times within the water. It is our custom, the Alter Rebbe brings 2 customs as to when to immerse, either before Sudas HaMafsekes or before Mincha. It is the minhag of Chassidim to immerse at both times. We immerse both before Mincha and also after the Sudas HaMafsekes before Ma'ariv. A person is to be careful to remove all chatzitzos from his body before this immersion, so he should cut his nails of both his hands and his feet, preferably on 2 different days. He should comb through his hair to make sure there's no knots, to brush his teeth, and is obviously to take a shower with soap. There are many women that are also accustomed to immerse in a mikvah on this day, as is brought in Shulchanaruchharav. Unmarried women are not to immerse, although some communities are lenient. In a case that a mikvah is not available, then a man should sit under a shower for approximately 2 to 3 minutes under a strong current falling on top of his head, and that's considered Teisha Kavim, which is equivalent to going to a mikvah. It's brought in chapter 610 that although we're not eating any meals, of course, on Yom Kippur, nevertheless, one is to honor Yom Kippur by spreading white tablecloths on all the tables of the house. It's brought down that women should diminish in wearing jewelry or ornaments of Shabbos and Yontif on Yom Kippur, and rather they should limit it to what they wear specifically on a weekday. Mincha is to be davened earlier on in the day. One should come wearing Shabbos clothing as written in Kitzur Shulchanaruch. The custom is to place coins on plates in the shul, so one should remember to come with coins of charity. This year that it falls in Erev Shabbos, one must remember to recite Haidu and Patach Eliyahu before Mincha is recited. During this prayer of Mincha, we recite the Vidui prayers towards the end of Shemona Esrei, just like on Yom Kippur itself. One is to read the Haftarah of Yom Kippur on Erev Yom Kippur, just like we always read the Shnai Mikra and Haftarah on Erev Shabbos. By the Sudas HaMafsekes, we dip the bread in honey, we avoid eating dairy. Some specifically eat fish, some avoid eating fish. According to all, we avoid spicy foods, one should avoid eating salt. Before one benches, one could stipulate that even though he is benching, he is not intending now to accept the meal. We perform Birchas Habanim, which is the mother and father bless their sons and daughters with Yivarecha Hashem Yishmerecha prior to the commencing of Yom Kippur. And it's brought down in Svarim that this is a very great school and that they should shed tears for the success of their children in being God-fearing Jews. It's important regarding the candle lighting to remember there's a number of candles that we must light on Erev Yom Kippur. First of all, every family should prepare a 24-hour candle for Havdalah, because on Matzah Yom Kippur there's a special law, even when it falls on Shabbos, according to the Alter Rebbe Shulchanaruchharav, that you must use for Havdalah a Ner Shabbos, a light that was lit the entire Yom Kippur. And it doesn't suffice to light a new candle. Thus, every family should remember to have a 24-hour light candle lit in their house specifically for Havdalah. In addition, men light a 24-hour candle in shul. In addition, a couple is meant to leave a light on in their bedroom for reasons explained in Shulchanaruch. Those that have Yiskar are to light also a Yiskar candle. Everyone has to remember before Hadlakas Nedus of Yom Kippur that they are to, of course, remove already their leather shoes, being that they are already accepting Yom Kippur at that time of the candle lighting. The men place on a kittel and garb a talis before sunset, and they recite a bracha while doing so. If a man did not put on his talis before sunset, he puts it on during Bein Hashmashos or later on without reciting a bracha. The Alter Rebbe writes in the Shulchan Aruch that as one sees sunset approaching, he should say vidui, his own vidui, either his own sins or the sins printed in the siddur, but he is also to confess during this time.